Hey, what's going on, guys? Zebs here bringing you another tutorial. And what we're going to do today is do the second part of the tutorial I started last week, which was the Cinema 4D part. Now this will be the Photoshop part to this style. And like I said before in the last video many times, was that this style has a lot of freedom to it, and that's what I really like about it. And the same goes for in Photoshop. You have so much freedom to do whatever you want with this style. Now I kind of pinpointed down to, or narrowed it down to something that I personally enjoy making with this kind of style and like material choice and all that. So let's get right into the tutorial. So what I want to do is obviously you want to bring the render in, and in this case, let's see if I can find it real quick. Abstract render, here we go. So as you can see in the media file that I linked down below, I did add a couple renders there, which we will be using in this video here in a little bit. But I'm just going to use the one that I made in the video last week, so you guys can follow along if you like. But basically what we're going to do is we're just going to drop it into the Twitter header. And a cool thing is a little quick tip for Cinema 4D users. When you make renders, I usually do mine in 1440p or sometimes 4K, so that when I bring it into like Twitter headers or YouTube banners or something, it's really big. So I could just size it down nicely and it doesn't lose all of that quality. So I'd say something like this is a good size, something like that. It definitely wants to be the main focus of this, the header, obviously. So once we do that, we're just going to add a color correction. And if you guys have been watching my tutorials, you guys will know I've been using the same two, and I've been doing this on purpose. I'm doing these same two because these are the two color corrections that I'm giving away for free in my pack. So I'm trying to keep styles centered around these two color corrections. So basically I'm just going to delete this. I don't think I'll need that. And there we go. So as you can see right off the bat, when I applied the color correction, the render is a bit dark, but it really brings out the colors. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of brighten it up and add some glow to all of this. And to do this, we're just going to create a new layer above the render, which I'm going to quickly rename render. So I'm going to create a new layer, and we're just going to get our brush tool and then get a soft brush. The Photoshop default soft brush. I'm just going to shrink it down a little bit. And we're just going to kind of pick colors around the render. So what I mean by this is when I click this, it uses the same color of the render. And you guys might be asking how I quickly just went to the tool over here that like picks the color, this one. If you hold Alt with the new layer, you can go around and look at all the different colors that the render contains. So we're just going to kind of go around and pick the colors, the brighter options, and just kind of go around and start adding some blur. So I'm going to kind of rush it a little bit for the sake of the tutorial and time. I don't want to waste your guys' time at all. So I'm just going to really just rush it. But when you guys are doing this, make sure to definitely put some effort into it. Make sure it looks nice and all the colors match up and all of that stuff. And then let's do some yellows. So when you're doing this, make sure you guys get the brighter colors rather than like the really dark ones, because the point of this is we're gonna make it into a glow. And when you use really dark colors, it's hard to make it look like a glow. So in this case, I'll show you what I mean when I made that dark patch there. I'll show you what I mean by that. So we're just gonna kind of go around, you know, add some brush for some glow. So how's your guys' day been? So leave a comment down below on some things you guys been up to, maybe some projects, schoolwork, you know, just anything in general. How's life going for you guys? For me, it's been going pretty good. I'm enjoying these tutorials I've been making again. It's good to be back, I feel like. Been having a lot of motivation to design and all that. So that's always fun. So I'd say this is pretty good. Like I said, I'm going to rush it, so there's always more you can do. But in this case, now that we have just random brush strokes everywhere, we're just going to lower the opacity down. And as I lower it, you're going to see that it's adding nice glow to the edge of the render. So when I turn it off, you'll see that, boom, it looks nicer already. And we're going to do the same exact thing on the outer part of the header. Just so that it all kind of blends in, because I've had some people actually ask me how to blend renders and all that stuff. So I thought, why not show you guys in this tutorial? So I'm just gonna get the same colors from the render, and I'm just gonna kind of just bring it around the edge of the header. like so, and I'm just going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to lower the opacity a bunch so it's very subtle. And once we've done this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm just going to make it a nice bright purple, and we're just going to kind of go over the render, and then we're going to get a nice blue down here. Just going to do the same thing. We're just going to lower the opacity on those just so there's a little bit of glow in there. So once we've done this, we're just going to go into any pack you guys want to use. In this case, I'm just going to use mine. And I'm just going to start by adding some basic things like smoke, particles, all of that stuff. So I guess let's start with particles. So I mean, it doesn't really matter too much what particles you guys use. Like I said, there's a lot of freedom in this style to do whatever you want. So you can always apply your own stuff to it, and it'll still look good in my opinion. So I'm just going to add some particles over it, just to add some depth and, you know, all that fun stuff. So maybe I'll change the color a little bit and make one pink. So as you can see here, as you guys seen a little bit ago, that I had a pink and blue light. My main focus is kind of having blue and pink stalks and lighting and all that around this. The main render, which has the tans and the creamy flavors and all that stuff. I feel like that has the best look out of them all. So once we've done this, I'm going to duplicate my render, and then I'm just going to make it really big again. So something like this. And we're just going to lower the opacity a bunch on it. Like, we're talking a bunch. And we're just going to blur it out. So go into blur, Gaussian blur. And I'd say something like that's good. Just add a little bit more detail in there. Maybe I'll lower the opacity a bit. And once we've done this, let's start doing some render work. So once we have our render here, we're going to duplicate it. And then the one under the duplicated one, we're just going to go filter, blur, motion blur. And this is going to add a really cool stroke effect to the render. And I think this is such a cool look, especially for this style. It adds a lot of vibrance and a lot of cool transparency to it. So I think it looks really good with it. And then another thing we're going to do is probably start adding some of our little renders I included in the last week's pack. So if you guys want them, just go ahead and go into that video and download those. Same materials and all that, so they'll work with whatever you're trying to do here. So I'm just going to kind of duplicate this and put this around little bits, just so parts of it showing. Maybe I'll have one here. We'll have one up here. And these are going to be blurred, by the way. These two right here. Here, I'm going to group these actually, call blurred. And then the other ones behind it. Let's see. So this one here. We're going to add another one here. I'd say is good. Yeah, that works, I'd say. So I'm just going to blur these ones real quick. So to go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Just kind of lower the radius a little bit, so it's not as strong. And lower the opacity. Well, no, let's leave it full blown. Let's just keep it legit. And then these ones I'd say are fine. I don't want too much of it showing, so it doesn't overpower the look we're trying to go for here. So I'm just gonna kind of put them in little random spots. And then the next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing with this other render here. We're just gonna drag this in here. Show again, yes. And this one, we're just going to drag behind everything and just kind of, I think this should definitely be blurred. Let's blur that out a bit, just like so. Maybe I'll move this one to the right and then move this one more to the left. Actually, let's do something like this maybe. And then I'm just going to lower the opacity on these so it's not too strong, just a little bit. And once we've done this, I feel like we definitely want to add some more lighting to this. Or some stronger lights, I suggest. Can't talk. So I'm just going to add some reds and a bunch of different colors. Some pinks and purples everywhere. Let's go with bright. Maybe some, let's see, some more tan here. Or some orange. We're just going to lower the opacity just so that there's more going on and there's a lot more lighting. So once we've done this, what we're going to do next is start by adding some different stocks and see what happens with it. So I'm going to go by going into maybe some flares. Let's add some flares to this bad boy. Like I said, a lot of these are I'm gonna assume you guys have packs that are somewhat similar, so I'm gonna assume a lot of you guys have the same stocks. So I mean, I'm just gonna kind of go on. I'm just kind of going with it right now. There's no set like thing here. I'm just kind of going with it to show you guys basically how easy it is to actually just make something really quick out of this style. So I'm actually gonna raise this to 100, and I'm just gonna do something like this. I'd say looks good. Once we've done that, what we're gonna do is maybe, let's see, let's add maybe some stocks to it. Let's see here. Anything look good? Maybe we could go with maybe some of these. Let's see what these look like. Boom, boom. Yeah, I'm into that. I'm into it. I'm just gonna drag the. Actually, we could keep it there and just lower the opacity on it. Actually, duplicate it, move it around, so that's a little bit more randomized. Oh. Soft brush. I'm gonna make it a little smaller. Actually, I think it looks fine like that. I'm gonna erase this a little bit here. So once we have this, I mean, you guys can keep going. You know, you guys can keep adding to whatever you guys like. I'm actually going to add one more layer, which is actually a pretty cool thing that I haven't really noticed a lot of people doing, is adding little dark spots to the render. So like something like this, and then just lower the opacity a bit. I think well, I guess in this case it doesn't look good, but in a lot of headers I've noticed it has a really good look to it. So once we've done this, what we're going to do is we're going to select all of our layers. We're going to click Control G, so everything's grouped together, so it's one layer. Duplicate it, merge, duplicate again, go Filter, Other, High Pass, 1.5 radius, and then we're going to go into Overlay. And then we are going to then turn it down to 75%. This adds a nice little sharpness to the header in my opinion. So once we've done this, we're just going to merge those together, duplicate again, and then let's add a little quick RGB to it. I think a blue would look really good, a dark blue in my opinion. And we're just going to move the thing like so, like this. So to do that, make sure you're on the Move tool, and then on your keyboard, use the right arrow. If you have a full keyboard, it's the like up, left, down, right arrow. We're just going to move it to the right twice. And I'm just going to then erase these little blue spots that appear in the on the left there. Merge those again, duplicate again. We're then going to go, let's see here, blur. We're going to go blur, Gaussian blur. I'm just going to blur it out a little bit. Not too much, maybe like a 2.0. And I'm just going to erase the edges real quick. And then we're just going to kind of erase the main bit of the header, so that some of it's in focus and some of it isn't. Merge it one more time, and then boom. And then I'm just going to make the bottom just a touch darker and the top just a touch darker. And I'm going to lower the opacity on that. Boom, we're going to merge these again. There's a lot of post work in this, I've noticed. Maybe some distort and maybe some ripples. Let's see here. If I can go small, large, no, definitely go small. Let's go 25, Jesus, 50. Let's turn it down just a touch, just so there's a little bit, not too much. So then we can definitely erase the outer part, maybe go into an overlay. Psych, definitely don't, that's what not to do. I don't know, I'm just kind of experimenting at this point. I think there's a lot of potential here that you guys have the freedom to do as you like. So I think this is a good look in my opinion. Duplicate again. You guys also have the freedom to change colors if you like. You can kind of get some interesting looks out of it. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily as like good as the original, but definitely you could get some interesting looks out of it, no doubt. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It was nice and quick, very easy to do. I hope you guys learned a lot from this, from different ways of blending your renders with depth of field, of making different renders of the same kind of style and then blurring those out just to show a little bit more than just the main render with a bunch of open space on the sides. But it's been your host today, Zebs. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Leave a like and comment, And if you have any suggestions on a tutorial you guys would like me to make, in the description down below I do have a form, so you guys can definitely make suggestions for me on tutorials you guys may want me to check out or look at, things like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm out. Peace.